two-factor authentication. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to create a web shell, not a web shell, a shell for our ePortfolio assignment, which is due later on in the course. So the web shell is kind of getting your basic bearing straight with web authoring. Tonight, we're going to start doing cascading style sheets. Now, what a cascading style sheet is just like in Word, when you use different styles and you change a heading 1, a heading 2, a heading 3, and it changes, you have 400 headings in the document, it changes them all to whatever style all at once. So you only go in and make that change once. Dreamweaver has the same thing. With Word documents, it's relatively simple. It's, formatting for the paragraph font, heading fonts, those kind of things. But with web pages, there's a ton of different things. Heading levels for different types of font, background colors, background images, all kinds of things. So we're going to talk about how you can create those using style sheets so that when you go in and make a change, it changes it throughout the entire site. No big deal in this class. You have 3 to 4 page sites. Going in and changing each of those 4, if you mess something up or you want to change the heading color or the font style or whatever, takes a few minutes. But if you're working for a corporation and they want to change the entire heading banner across their entire site, that's thousands of web pages. That's a pretty substantial undertaking. So style sheets helps us do that very easily. And so we're going to walk through how to do that. When we are doing this, we're going to reference some code. And one of the comments we got last time was that we expected y'all to learn how to code, but for those that were new, that was really difficult. We don't expect you to know how to code. We expect you to know how to look at code and be able to figure out what it means, and then be able to customize that code based on your needs and customize that content based on your needs. And it'll make sense. So I think earlier in the course, there was a video on HTML and CSS basics. That was super advanced compared to what we were going to do. So if you were like, whoa, my head's exploding when you're watching that, that's fine, because we're not going to get into anything close to that. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And before we get into what we're going to do tonight, well, what I really want to do is we're going to create 5 pages, a 5-page website. We're going to index, and we'll do a project page. We're going to do a links readings page, a coursework page, and a resume page, just to get us going. But this is just to kind of get this ePortfolio started and kind of get some of our main things up for our server space. So what I've done here is, so last time I had this, y'all may have remembered, I had the hot dog debate folder. I had the 3 pages, pro, index, and anti. And then I had the miscellaneous file, which had my CV. And then I had the images file, which had my all of my images for my folder. Now I want to highlight a couple of things because I've seen some submissions and some problems with some of the sites. Notice that all of these images, they're all lowercase, there are no spaces, they're all relatively short names. These are a little longer, pro, content, image, but they're all telling me they're giving me information about where these go. LinkedIn logo, that's going to go in the footer. Con main image. So this is going on the con page, and it's the main image. So, but notice all lowercase, no spaces, all relatively simple. Notice the files here, anti, index, and pro. Very short names, all lowercase, no spaces. Miscellaneous. This one has like some capital letters, but no spaces, and relatively brief in nature. It tells me what it is. Very important to kind of follow that, because if you start getting into really long names with spaces and capital letters here and not capital letters here, it gets really ornate and problematic. Because have you ever typed, when I go to Google, I don't go www.google space something google.com. It's just google.com. There's no spaces in URLs. How many of y'all have seen a %20 before in a URL? Anyone seen that before? That's a space in the file name. It's not a good thing. So I wanted to highlight that, just kind of reiterate that. In one of the presentations, I have 5 rules for naming. You'll probably see those rules on a test in a few weeks. So I would probably pay attention to those as well. And then the big thing also is to make sure everything is housed in the correct location. I want to kind of highlight one thing right here. I'm going to open up index. Unlike Word documents, what these do is images and links, they're just pointing to a place, if that makes sense. So let me open this with Dreamweaver. So if I click on my hot dog image up here, here's the content for it. Now here's the code for it. It says image source, SRC, that's the source. And it says images/banner-image.png. So what this is saying is the source for this image is in this images folder. Go into the images folder from my current location. So I go into my images folder from here, go into my images folder and find banner image.png. So this image right here is this right here. And then I've provided some additional constraints to it. I changed the width, I changed the height, I added a title for credit, and then I added the alt label. But to find the actual place, it's images/banner.jpg. If I go here to my CV, it's pointing to where that CV is. It's pointing to a file. So all I do, if I click on this, I go to my href. Href is a link, and it says, go into miscellaneous from this file and go get Hartshorn-CV, blah, 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 blah. So from here, I go into miscellaneous folder and I see Hartshorn-CV. So it's linking directly to that. So you can test your images and stuff right away and see if they're going to work. So for example, if I went up here and I typed in, if I made this a capital and clicked off of it, online this wouldn't work because there's no images folder there. Let me see if this works here. Probably not because I didn't save it, but let's see. Yeah. That wouldn't work online because I changed the file name and that it's telling it to go to the wrong place. So be thinking of that when you're making your links and you're inserting images and that sort of thing. Also, real quickly, if I'm on my live view, I saw this in a quick tutorial I had with somebody this week. If you're in live view, you can't edit your page. So I can go in here and you'll see it do stuff, but it won't let you do any real significant edits. You can do some changes, but not anything significant. You can change font and text and stuff. So you have to make sure you're in design view for this. So real quickly, if I go to my con image here, if I go to my properties window, so I go to window, pull up properties, it says go to anti.html. So you can see the sort, that's the pointer. And you see all I do to go from index to con is it's just go directly to anti.html. So all the images, links, internal links, external links, they're all just pointers. They're pointing to you. In a Word document, if you insert an image in a Word document, that Word document, that image is there. It's part of that Word document. That's not the case with these. So if I were to take these 3 files right here, let me minimize this real quick. If I were to take these 3 files and move them outside of this folder, and let me try and open up Anti. Notice how, so con image doesn't work. This banner doesn't work. These 2 images don't work because I'm telling them to go into the images folder, but there's no images folder here for them to go into and find it. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's in the wrong, it's trying to get into this folder. What I would need to do if I went into Dreamweaver, watch this magic. Let me open it with Dreamweaver real quick. So see, now you see they're not working. But if I click on this, what I need to do is say, go into EME 6507, go into hot dog debate, and then go into images. So for this to work, if I click on this, go here, and you can see it already has the images / banner. I would say go into EME 6507 / and each folder is just a /, and then go into hot dog space -debate / boom, it works. So see how I'm telling it to go to the right location. Does that make sense? So the reason I'm telling you this is that a vast majority of issues with the shell assignment are images not working and links not working. And this is a quick and easy way to look at it and see if it should be working or not and fix it. So I could now go in and fix this and, you know, tweak it and then re-upload it and it would be fine. Okay? I hope that makes sense. No, we're not going to save any of these changes. Okay. So today we're going to, so I just wanted to highlight that before we got into the CSS. So cascading, and actually related to that is CSS uses a style page and it points to that particular style page. That makes no sense, but it will in a moment, I promise. Okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to look at these expert web editors examples. So I've collected these resources here for us to use tonight. One is some miscellaneous, which I may use that again, I may not. Some project images. So these are images that of projects that I've created in the past. So for you to link to, part of my ePortfolio. Site images. So these are images I'm going to use in the site to replace some of the template images. And I've downloaded some templates. So templates are just websites that people created, and I can go in and use them and then tweak them to my own needs. So if I look at this one right here, for example, coffee like. If I look in the images folder, it has these images that it uses in the folder. I could look on the index. The style sheet, this is a bunch of code. So you don't need to know this, but you do need to understand what this has, all of the code for the formatting for every aspect of that page. So if I look at A, the A is a link, a hyperlink. A is code, HTML code for a hyperlink. So it is this color right here. So if I wanted to change the code, the color of my links, I could go in right now, change this to blue or green, or type in some color or some hex color, and it's going to work. It would change that color throughout the site. If I wanted to do that, if I wanted to get rid of underline, so I would just delete that and it wouldn't underline text. There's a hover effect, and there's no impact, there's no effect on the hover. But if I wanted to give a hover color, I could change the color here. The body font size is 12. The line height is 1.75 em. It's Georgia serif. The background color is this. You can go in and modify these very, very easily. You don't have to do it here. I'm just showing you where all of this content is. What's happening is this index page right here. I'm going to open this in Dreamweaver. This index page is referencing all of that content in the CSS Designer. So if I click on my CSS Designer here, I can select areas. So this right here, if I scroll over it, see how it says box 1 in the ID? You see that? Can y'all see that? Kind of tough to see maybe. But right up here in the ID, when I roll over it, it says box 1. So I can go over up here in the selectors and type box 1, or I can just type box and it'll find it. If I click on it, it gives me the properties of that box, and I can change them right here. So I want it to be 645 pixels wide. So I click on that and watch what happens. Oh, it made it 645 pixels. I want it to have a, let's kind of scroll down, see what, and there's nothing really here to play around with. I could put nothing really here. There's no background or anything, so I could keep moving on. Let me click on this one over here. So this one is, well, let me go up here, actually. We'll go up to the, this one's called nav. And you can also, when I click on something, it's also highlighted down here. So I selected box 3. So I could go here to box 3 and I see it's 355 pixels. So I could make changes to the layout very, very easily. Here, I could click on here for more. There's nothing real, there's no other properties really there. It didn't really give a lot. So I could make modifications there. We're going to look at that in a minute if you're a little confused. That's fine. But let's look at the navigation. So if I go up to my nav here, if I highlight this, you can see it says ID nav 73 by 40. You can see here it says nav. But if I just type here and go nav, I can see I get a bunch of different things here. I get nav, that's just basics. So it's 53 pixels. It has an absolute position. All of these things, I can look at the text in it by clicking on the T. Let me move this down. Let me move this up a little bit. I can click on the T. It's line height of 53. I can look at some other options here. If I look at nav A, this is the link. So if you look here, the color is this kind of tan color. Well, that's the color of a link in there. You can see that they're all that kind of tan color. So if I wanted to change this, if I click on this, I want it to be a deep red color. So I click that, click enter. Now all of those are deep red color. Okay. But that's just the links in the nav. So you can see here I selected nav A. A is a link. We don't really need to list or underline. We can do that. But if I click here and here, this one right here is called box 1. I'm going to see, let me go to box 1 real quick. And then I could go into the, let's see what this font is. Okay, so this right here is the A font in general. So I can, if I highlight this here, it also pops up down here in the DOM. So if I go here and just type A, so now I can see the color is this kind of blue color here. I can maybe change it to kind of a green or something like that. And then wherever those links are throughout, it'll change it to that particular green. If I do A hover, I can modify the colors here as well. So this right here is just, all you have to do is figure out what you want to change and then go over here to the, type in what it is, and then select it in this selectors option. And then you can go through the properties and modify, and it changes it throughout the entire site. So here, for example, this is, let me go to my properties window. Properties tab will tell you the properties. So this is heading 3. So if I go over here to heading 3, which is H3, then I can kind of play around and change various aspects of these here as well. So I can make them unbolded. I can play around. We're going to look at this in more detail later, but you can really get into kind of playing around with H4. You can change it, and it changes it throughout. Give it none, and it's just regular time. You can see it's in box 2. So I could go here, go box 2, and play around and look at the properties here and then modify accordingly. So all I need to do is just take this particular template, get it to look like I want it to do, and then you'll notice here style.css. So style, this is pointed to. So when I look at my code here, and you don't need to know how to code this, but notice that it goes, let's see, where's style CSS? Give me a moment. Find. Oh, it's in the HTML, sorry. It's in the source code here, sorry. So if I go up to my HTML page, you can see here that it says, link style.css. So it's going directly to the style sheet. And if you look at the files here, bear with me one moment. That index and style are the same level. So all I'm saying is for index, I'm referencing style.css. So any change I make to style.css is going to change whatever is being referenced in index.html for that. So now once I'm done with getting this looking like I want it to, I would just go File, Save. Let me save the changes here. And then I'm going to go File, Save As, Page 2. File, oops, not, nope. File, Save As, Page 2.html. It's not referencing. But all I do is just like I did before, where I said saved it as index.html, pro and con, or anti, I would do the same thing here. Just get it looking like I want it to, and then save it as each of the names. So we're going to do that tonight with from start to finish with another template. And we're going to put it in our, we're going to get the first thing that's really important. We're going to use one of my favorites, BizChrome. So BizChrome looks like this. Okay, it's got this nice gray scheme, gray, black and white and gray scale kind of thing. It's got this nice image here. Scroll down. It's very simple. I'm going to change these to links. These are all the navigation menu. I'm going to change this title banner here. I'm going to change this image here. I'm going to put an image here. I'm going to change this header. I'm going to play around with some things to just let you see how to modify them. This template, real quickly, it requires you to leave the credit in the footer, but I feel that's a small price to pay to not have to design this from scratch. So we're going to look at this. We're going to edit this particular one. So to do that, what I want to do right off the bat is I want to put everything that I'm going to need in BizChrome in here. So let me go ahead real quickly. I'm going to put BizChrome in my EME 6507 folder. So now I have BizChrome in here. I'm going to delete ePortfolio because I want BizChrome to be my ePortfolio. I'm just going to call it ePort just for simplicity's sake. And now I've collected some resources that I want to put in ePort. I've collected the site images, so I'm just going to drag that into ePort. I've collected these project images that I showed you earlier, and I've collected miscellaneous. I may or may not use that. So now I have everything for my site all in one central location, and now I'm just going to get to creating. So I'm going to open this up in Dreamweaver. And before I get it to where, and I like to work in the design view, but I might want to change it to the split view later. But just so you see this little overlap, that's just because of CSS. But if I go to live view, you can see this is what it looks like. So we're good. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight BizChrome, and I'm just going to call this Richard H. ePortfolio. Okay. So I've done simple change. Here, this is my navigation banner. If I wanted to change something, like if I wanted, I might go here and type in nav and just click here. And the width is 1116. The height is 63. I might see what color. Okay, the border, I could change some colors. I could change the font in here if I wanted, but so the background is black. See how the background of this is black? Let me change this to a gray. So I'm just let's just see what gray looks like. So it blends in too much. So I'm going to go back to that black, and I could just type in black and it changes it. Or you could use hex code or whatever type of code they do. If I wanted to do red, just do red. It gives me a red background. Terrible, but do you want me to leave it red just so you can kind of get the gist of it? Does that make sense? Or do you want me to go back to black? Or y'all don't really care, do you? Fine. I'm going to make it mauve. All right, black it is. So now I don't like this image. So I'm going to replace this image with one that I have saved. But what I want to do is look at it. I'm going to go to my properties window. and see that it's 1116 by 216. So that's going to help me when I insert my new image. So I'm going to replace this image here, and I'm going to go into my ePort, and I did site images, and I'm going to select banner here. And then I'm going to just, I could change it here. I'm going to make this 216. Let's see what that does. I could drag this over, you know, something like that. You can play around with this, but I think it was 1116. I'm going to give it an alternate image, UCF Fountain. And I can put from ucf.edu or something like that. There's no link, but I could link if I wanted to ucf.edu. I don't have to, but there. And I'm kind of good with that, okay? So I kind of like that. This is for my ePortfolio. So I'm going to go, welcome to my ePortfolio. And if I highlight this text, you see that it's heading 2. So I could go here and go, and it's in, this is in box 1. So I could go up here and go H2 and H2, and I could kind of change the, let's see, we can change the color of this. It won't let me change it. Yeah, you have to change, we'll change all of the color here. Let's see if, yeah. So we can change all of the colors. I could make this like a, there we go. We'll go with that. I didn't change it. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So you just got to find the right one. Content H2, content H3. These are content cells. So welcome to my ePortfolio. And then I'm going to say just, you know, this is my ePortfolio illustrating blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to unbold it. But I can see it's bolded and it's paragraph. So let me go to, let me find content P, and then just play around with it. And just, I think I can just unbold it there. Let's see. I'll go to CSS, go to CSS targeted rule, and just unbold there. Where are we at? I'll come back and find it later, but I don't want that bolded, but all I got to do is find the code in here and I can unbold it very easily. I'm going to replace this image. I'm going to put an image of myself. So I'm going to select the image here. Notice it's 220 by 196. So I'm going to get something relatively similar to that. I put this in, I have my site images folder. Okay. And we're just going to make it 220. Let's see, double click here. Just play around with the, there we go, something like that. Then if I click here, if I wanted to put more content here, but notice how box 3 is over here. I'm just going to delete box 3, but I'm going to look at box 2 here. I might want to put something here. And if I look at box 2, I see the width is 550. Well, I don't want the width to be 550. I want box 2 to be the same as box 1. Box 1, when I click on it, is, let me just go up here, box 1, and it's 1116. So if I click here on box 2, or I just go over here and go box 2, I can, it says 550, I just make it 1116 pixels. And now it's the same width. So I could then go in and make, you know, I can play around with this content and make it my own, do what else. So here I might want to say, add something else, like above the footer, I might want to say, Richard Hartshorn. I did this before. Email, TV. And hit Shift Enter. And then for email, just go here, go to insert, email link, just like I did before, boom. And then insert for the CV. I'm going to do I'm going to do a file, but I'm just going to do a hyperlink to a file. And it's inside, it's in my desktop. Give me 6507, ePort, miscellaneous. There we go. Okay. And we want that to open in the underscore blank. And I might say just put CV and okay. So I'm getting it almost to where I can go with where I'm good. So home is going to be home, but I click on home and I go back to my HTML here and I see that the link is to an asterisk, to a number sign. So I know that home is going to link to index.html. So I'm just going to type in the page name. So I click here, it says index.html. For services, I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to change this to projects. And I'm going to make that link to projects.html. This one will be courses. And I'm going to highlight that. Whoops. Change that to courses.html. Now they don't exist yet, but we're going to get them there. Portfolio, I think this was readings. Readings.html. And then resume here, I'm just going to do CV. Whoops. I'm just going to do CV, and I'm just going to call it cv.html. And then for contact, I'm just going to put an email link. So I'm going to go mail to : Richard Hartshorn at ucf.edu. Okay. Notice in the document title, it says Biz Chrome. So I'm going to go Hartshorn. I'm just going to go RH EP home. And again, I can go here and play with these page properties. So if I wanted to change the link colors, I could really mess around with a lot of stuff. I could change visited links to this, I could play around with these. I could give rollover link colors. So you kind of really get in here and get in the weeds with it. So those are good. I'm kind of done here. Now I'm going to simply go, I'm going to save this. So, because I have my asterisk here, so I've made changes.
Rich, we have a quick question, looks like.
I don't answer questions while I'm talking. You wait until I acknowledge. No, I'm just kidding. What's the question?
Angie, you there?
Sorry, Richard. I just want to ask you a question. So I was just looking, and I was kind of playing Dreamweaver as you were doing this. So I kind of noticed, like, when you go like to the design area and then to the live area, of course, some templates kind of like change. Just kind of like weird. So is there any problem if I just go to the design area and I kind of like shift a little bit what I wanted to shift, and then I can go to the to the live area first and then to the design area back? Because it's kind of weird. I mean, when I do the other templates, everything looks messy.
Yeah, I like to go back and forth between the design and live because it gives you, the live view gives you a better, it's not perfect, but it gives you a better look of what it should look like. So there's not really a better way of doing it. I just kind of toggle back and forth periodically to test on it. And sometimes I'll use it just, I'll give you an example. Let me pull up one. Give me a sec. Did I just shut that? Yeah, okay. So there's one here that I was going to show you that I really like the template. I think this is it. So lighten. Let me open it in Dreamweaver. Give me a moment. Give it a moment. Come on, Dreamweaver. Okay, So this is what it looks like, but when in the live view, but when I go to where's the view option? Design view, this is what it looks like. That's a bit much, right? It's like kind of you're not sure what you're doing. So a lot of times I'll delete something like here, why choose us? I'll delete it. And then I'll go back to the live view and I'll say, okay, that wasn't what I meant to delete, and I'll undo it. So sometimes it takes a little bit of getting acclimated to the template to be able to kind of really see what's happening, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but also like, if I change something in the design, like in just in the design area, is it gonna be affected like really bad and it's not gonna save?
No, you can undo stuff and you can fix stuff pretty easily. So if you make a change and you don't like it, you just go back and change it to a different color, change it, just make the change, just redo the change. Does that,
Got it. Thank you so much.
so I'm not gonna say but that was one example here, like you can go in and really modify this. This was a good one. The thing about this, one of the things I wanted to point out too is when you're playing around with templates, some of y'all may have some experience, some of you may not. Look at the template and look at this. So I unzip this folder or uncompress this folder. This has like a JavaScript file. This has like an icon folder, a fonts folder, a CSS folder. In the CSS, there's like a bunch of different CSS things. This one's way too complicated for people that are just getting acclimated. When we went to the one that I just did, the BizChrome, all it had was images, which are just images for the folder this is the background tile, and these are just images that are used. And then it had the styles page and the index page. So it's relatively simple compared to the others. So you can even go into some of these other templates and look. The reason this one was so complex is because it's a responsive one. So if someone's looking at it on a desktop versus a laptop versus a tablet versus a phone, it automatically adjusts itself to fit what they're viewing it on. So it has a lot of pluses, and we'll get into that later and in the course, and you'll be able to kind of make more sense of these things. So, but we're gonna start with baby steps here. So here I'm going to go ahead and go back to my ePortfolio. So now I'm just going to go in and save these pages. So I'm going to go File. Give me a second. Did I open it in? Is this Streamweaver? No, this is a browser. There we go. So now just give me a second. It's being weird. Okay. It's getting there, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my live or design view. I'm going to go here and I'm going to change this to ePortfolio. I'm going to just call it projects. And I'm going to go down here to my folder or to my properties window, call it projects. And then I'm going to go File, Save As, Projects. Okay. So now I can close out. Well, I'm going to go here and go Courses, File, Save As, Courses, File. Oh, I'm going to go here, go Courses, Readings. Properties, Readings. Save As, Readings. Last one, File, whoops, CV, CV, file, save as, CV, boom. So now my ePortfolio shell is essentially done. So now I want to go add content to the pages and upload. So if you've got your web shell done, now you want to go in and add content. So close that one out. See what's here, okay? All right. So now here I want to go and let me go to my projects page real quickly. And I'm going to welcome to my projects page. And I'm going to delete this, maybe even delete, maybe have some lorem ipsum here. And then maybe go, let's see, let me insert an image here. Actually, let's see, what is it? 108 by 108. Okay, so I'm going to go here. Let me undo that. Edit, undo. Click here. Click on the image. Go into ePort, project images. I'm going to do ellipse. Click OK. Maybe make it a little smaller. Okay, that's good. Okay, click on this. Give it alt text. Ellipse interface. Doesn't need to have a title because it doesn't have anything. It's gonna that we're good there. No link. Well, actually, I would link to it, but it doesn't. I'm gonna click on this. Go into. Actually, I don't have any projects linked yet, so I would hold off on that. But I would do that later. And here, real quickly, this project, blah, 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 blah. Then I created a video. Maybe come here. Let me do this. Ellipse. Kind of copy this. This is, if you click on this, it's heading 3. So I click here, go to heading 3, boom, give it the same thing. But I want to put a YouTube video here. So I created, this is going to be my video. So now I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go to YouTube. And I don't think anybody doesn't like Harry Styles. So we're going to do Sign of the Times by Harry Styles. So this is a couple cool things here. If I want to share, if I click here, I get some settings and stuff, no big deal here. But if I want to share this, I click on share, and then I get a bunch of options. I can email it to somebody, I can Twitter it, I can Facebook it, but I have this embed option here. And if I just copy this, a couple things I can do. One is you see the iframe width. I could go in and maybe make this smaller. So what's half of 560? 280? Let me undo that. Share, embed. Let me just copy it here. But a couple other things. So I could change the frame width. I'm going to do that in a bit. But I could also say, I don't want you to start watching it at 0, 0. I want you to start at 30 seconds. So I could click here and notice what happens to the code. Let's see, yeah. See out here now it says start at 30, start equals 30. So you could constrain when people watch it very easily here. So I'm just gonna, I've already copied it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close this. So now I want to put this down here. Down here. Well, if I just paste this, it pastes a bunch of code in there, and I don't want that. So what I want to do is put my cursor where I want it to go, and then I go to split view, and I find my cursor down here somewhere. There it is, and I just paste it. Just hit paste when I'm in this. Whoops, darn it. Let me go here. Let's see if that works. There we go. So now, and then I could also go into my code and make it 280 by 157. And it makes it a much smaller, kind of more relevant kind of size. I'm going to save this, file save. I'm good with editing for today. I'm going to stop there, but I would just go in real, change my welcome to my course page. And we'll get into this more later, but I just wanted to kind of show you the basics of working with a template. And, later on, I don't like this red link. So I go to my CSS designer, and we'll get into this more later, but I want to, and we find this is a H2. I think I can do it here. There's H2. H2 in the content, I think, right? The content, content H2. Yeah, so I want to change the color. I want to make it like this color here. I just click on that, and then it changes it throughout the entire site. So not only on this page, but on this page, on this page, on this page. It changes all of those that were once red. If I don't like the background, I can go and change the background colors. I can really get in and change whatever I want. If I wanted to get certain things don't change with CSS. So let me go ahead and save all of the ones that haven't been saved. So like the background image here, this isn't a CSS thing. So if I wanted a different background image or banner image, I could just change that on each page and it would give me a different image. You could do it via CSS, but this template didn't do it that way. So now we're done. So I want to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and close all these out. Yes. Okay. Close all these out. And now I want to upload them. So I go to my Files tab. I can select my ePort. Actually, I'm going to select my whole site. And actually, I'm just going to select ePort because that's the only one I worked on. And I'm going to click Connect. And I'm going to select ePort again. Select ePort. Click the up arrow. Should dependent? Yes. It's working on it. So I'm done. So now I'm going to pull up a browser and I'm going to go, it's always going to be, remember, it's going to be rhartshorn.com-spring 2024 your username without the @rhartshorn, Poobah for me. Then it's going to be the folder. So remember that EME6507 is the shell folder. The local site folder is invisible in the URL when you're using Dreamweaver. So it's just kind of think of it as a hub. So here it's just going to be ePort. And then I want to go pick a page. If I wanted to go to index, if I want to go to CV, I'll just do cv.html. And I'm good to go. Richard H. CV. There's my banner image. There's the picture of me. And I didn't do anything on this particular page, but if I click on my CV down here, it opens in a new tab because I did that underscore, the target equals underscore blank. If email, I'm not going to click on it, but if you look in the lower left, you'll see mail to : Richard Hartshorn, richard.hartshorn@ucf.edu. Let's see if I go to my projects page. I got my ellipse thing here. I got this little video of Harry Styles rocking it out. So everybody likes that. If I go to my readings page later on, I'm going to add in all the readings here. Just all I would have to do now to update all of this stuff, everything, the basics are done, but anything I want to change, I just go into, open it up in Dreamweaver. Anything that I want to change that's CSS, like across the site, so maybe the color links, rollover links, whatever, I just go into my CSS, find the attribute I want, you have to have the page open, find the attribute using the selectors, and then modify the properties. I would recommend just picking one and kind of playing around with it, with no intent of upload. Well, maybe you can upload it, but no intent of using it. Just use it to kind of play around and learn where things are and what the code means and those things. You do not have to know how to code from scratch. You just kind of need to be able to recognize stuff. So does that make sense? So I'm gonna stop here. This is back in my younger days, so. And yeah, so that was the gist of what I have for tonight. I see Jason has a comment, where can we find templates like BizChrome? So here's what I will do is, I'm gonna stop my sharing. In the course materials, there are templates. Did you share, Trenton, did you?
Yeah. I already sent the link too. Yeah.
If anyone wants any of these, because BizChrome's super easy to play with, I'll zip it up and I can post it in an announcement. I can post a couple other easy ones that if y'all want to, they're good starter templates. And then from there, you can kind of play around. You can kind of transition to more advanced ones. We're the next formal web authoring webinar we have is not for a while, but what I'm going to do is offer some kind of sporadic Q&A ones throughout the course, and they'll kind of be pop-ups. So if y'all have questions, I'll say, okay, on Tuesday night, I'm going to do an hour of just Q&A on blah, blah, on something. And then later on in the course, we will have specifically updating your ePortfolio webinar and updating your multimedia project using templates, using CSS, all of this stuff. So it'll make much more sense once you have some time to play around with it and really get a little more comfortable with what does H3 mean and what does div mean and what does box 1 mean and all that stuff.
Hey, Rich, there's a question about putting the title, or I should say, giving credit for copywritten images. Where you would do that while we're recording, and I know you just put the title in. I think it was I can't remember what this last image that you put, but if you can just kind of share.
So yeah, so that's a good question. So let me pull up Dreamweaver again. Let me just open. I'll just open up the index.html. So here, if you click on there's a few things you could do. Like here, what I can do.
You want to share your screen? You can't see. Yep.
No. Sorry. I'm not very good at this webinar stuff. So here, like I could do like a caption. I'm not like below the image, like insert a text box or something. But in the easiest way for right now is in the properties, in the title section, not in the alt label section, but in the title, put something like, image from https ucf.edu. And then we'll do not put it that way. We'll see it in the code. We'll know that you're giving credit. Alternatively, you could do in the footer, you go images from blah, 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 blah in the footer, and you could have a couple places there. If you had multiple sources, you could do, from ucf.edu, not image, nasa.gov, blah, 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 blah. You can kind of do that kind of thing. So or you could do a separate page. You could do, like, instead of contact, you might do a credits page. And then have like all your images listed there. Does that work, Trenton?
Yep, that's good. Don't forget about confirmation code.
I think the good confirmation code would be, I did reference Harry Styles, so we'll go. What is it? Watermelon sugar high. Let's do watermelon sugar high.
Watermelon sugar high. There you go.
My wife can't believe that I hate that song. She's like, how can you hate that song? It's got such good words. Yeah. So watermelon sugar high. All right, I am done. How we feeling?
Any questions? Yeah, I was gonna say, I was trying to scroll across the images. I see some smiles. I see folks are A lot of content,
Trying to make sure.
overwhelmed,
A lot
maybe.
of stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
but I promise you will get it. I promise. Of the thousands of people that I've taught in this class, only like 600 have not gotten it at some point. So I think. Just kidding. Yeah, y'all are gonna be fine. I know it's a lot, but you will get it. We didn't do,
just-
so that's a
yeah.
good point. We didn't do, I didn't
Mm.
want to do CSS in, Monkey Composer. So, but I will have a separate resource for that where we do CSS and Monkey Composer. It's a little different because it doesn't have the big like split screen when it only has like certain elements of split. When you split it, you only see like one line. So it's easy, but it's different. So I'll post a resource for Monkey Composer with this separately. Holly, do you want to ask your question or? Because other people might have a similar question about their topic, so. Or is it something very specific?
Oh yeah, it's just that I'm a civics teacher, so I was wondering if I could do something related to my class that's informational.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
If you
awesome.
wanna, well, one thing we'll say, we've said this a couple times, but think small.
Yeah.
So if you wanna come up with a topic or and
Mhm.
send it to us for feedback, because sometimes people will think it's small and it's really
Mhm.
big, or sometimes they'll think it's, too big and we're gonna, may have some trouble getting that, but if you send it to us, we'll provide like, okay, think about this, this and this, or maybe this perspective on it or something like that.
Mhm. Okay, sounds good.
That
Thank
goes
you.
for anybody. Anyone can send us a question about their topic, or if you want some guidance on your topic, feel free to shoot them to us. I did want to say I'm away next Wednesday through Sunday. So if you do have questions, I can respond to them, but I'm not going to be available for like webinar, like one-on-one consultations. And it's due next Sunday, right?
It's due on the 11th. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Not next
if
week.
you
but
do
the
have
following.
questions, get them to, I mean, I can respond to questions, but if you need like a walkthrough kind of thing, make sure you test access to your server, all of that ahead of time, before Tuesday, because if you do anything beyond Tuesday, I'm not going to be able to access the server. Okay. Sorry.
Any other questions? Just for next steps or just reminders. And this kind of goes to what you just articulated, Rich. Some folks have asked if we can review some of their assignments prior to, and so we were happy to do that. But I think prior to, we just want you to make sure that you, as you have created something, that you're just sort of checking it across the rubric, the requirements, just to make sure that you have everything there. We just talked about the credit, so we're good on that. Submit the discussion tonight is your original discussion for week number 4. And then your response to your peers are due by Sunday. Don't forget the confirmation code. I won't repeat it at the end, so don't forget that confirmation code, whether you've been here tonight or if you have a colleague who is going to be watching it via archive. The alt tag, that's the alternative text. So that's when, right? So if someone is visually impaired or something of that nature, you sort of describe. In fact, there's a box in the
I'll pull it up in a second.
and the properties, right? You can put up Rich, but in the property, you can just sort of explicitly identify and articulate what that image means. And so that would be the alternative text. Yeah, we want to show that real quick.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
stop.
And as you do that, I'll just keep so confirmation code you have to do by Sunday, and then survey. So there's some surveys, Qualtrics again. They're anonymous. We don't know who's responding to what. If you said Richard's computer is great this week, whatever feedback you want to give to us is no problem. We just want to kind of leverage that to get better each week. And then next time we're going to meet again, not next week. So there's no live session next week, but it'll be the following week, week 15. So between now and then, we would have had the groundhog appear tomorrow. So we'll see. It doesn't affect us here in Florida. I'm from Ohio, so it was a big deal. Is he gonna shoot his shadow? And then of course for those who are celebrating Happy Valentine's Day and all those things, and we'll catch you the next day. Rich, do you want to quickly share
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Let me stop this.
So here it is. Here's the site that we have up. If I click on this image here in the properties tab, there it says alt right here. And so I just typed in UCF Fountain here. I just typed this in and go Dr. H as a young gent. And then when I go to split code, for example, or yeah, if I go to split, for example, and I click on this in the code, where's it at? You can see it here. Alt, Dr. H is a young gent. If I go up here to this, the alt is UCF Foundation or Fountain. When we pull it up online, we'll go in, if we don't see it automatically, we'll go in and inspect the image or inspect the code, and we'll see the
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say. Like when we're grading this, that's exactly what we do. So, you know, go ahead, even make sure if you might have forgotten, just go ahead and check the code that you're going through. Because that's what we do as we grade.
Somebody also asked about testing the server. So I do want to remind you that, let me share this one more time. I promise I'm done after this. So it's always going to start off as rharshorn.com/spring-2024/ your username. But that's nothing. Like this, if I hit that, it's going to come up as 403 forbidden. So that's a security feature. You have to give the full path of the file. So here we did eport / projects.html. So I'm saying, okay, all I'm doing is saying everything you submit, every URL will start with this, except for not poobah, whatever your username is. And then I'm saying, okay, go into the eport folder and go find projects.html. And put boom, and there's my projects page. I can click on these. There's Harry. So you get the gist of it. So by testing your server, what I really mean to do is open it up in Dreamweaver or in CyberDuck, whichever one you're using, and make sure that it works. Like you can log in. If you can log in, everything works. I had to enter in 35 of y'all's usernames and passwords, and contrary to what my wife thinks, I am not perfect. I do sometimes make mistakes. So, but I don't know that I made a mistake on yours unless you tell me. So make sure you test it before Tuesday and let me know that if it does not work. And please don't ever tell my wife that I said that if you see us out and about.
Yep. So just check out. Let's just quickly check out. I'm not going to share my screen for the checkout, but as we always have check-ins and checkouts. So just one word. Whatever that word is. Obviously, this is not anonymous, so we will know. But so we're not going to hold it against you.
Oh,
Is that for me?
no.
Okay.
Marion, play around and just.
Yeah, and I was going to say for those who are stressed, again, reach out to us at